So now the next question is, and I think this will be of interest to all of us. Where is the soul and where is the super soul? There is a lot of confusion about soul and super soul, and where is it actually in the body? Is the soul in the brain? Is the soul in the heart? By which I mean your heart, right atrium, right ventricle, left ventricle. Is it in that, or is it somewhere else? There is confusion here. Okay, so what I want to take here is, none of us have seen the soul, none of us have seen the super soul, because we cannot see this through our material eyes. So we have to use another means of knowledge, and we touched upon this briefly last week. So we will have to go to the Vedas themselves and see what do they say about this. Where is the Jiva and where is the Paramatma in the body? So Prashna Upanishad, the third question in the Prashna Upanishad is the Ashvalayana. He is the guy who asked Pippalada Rishi that question. Where is prana? Where are the various components of pranas? What is nadi? What are all the five prana types, and how do the nadis operate? How do things go? He asks that question. Where is the jiva? How does it operate, and so on? So Ashvalayana asked the same question to Pippalada Rishi in Shatprashna Upanishad, and Pippalada gave the answer there. As I said, Hridi Esha Atma. Okay, Hridi means the heart. Heart, I want to clarify, it does not mean your ventricles and the atrium. Heart is just a place in your body. So when I say I am, I place my hands on my chest, because that is where I am. I am placed there. So Hridihi Esha Atma. So from Prashna Upanishad, we understand that the Jiva is in the region of the heart. Taytori Upanishad then talks about where Brahman is, or where the Supreme Being is. Now, this is a very key verse in philosophical discourse. It goes like this: Brahmavid apnoti param, tad esha abhyukta, satyam jnanam anantam brahma, yo veda nihitam guhayam parame vyoman, so ashnute sarvan kaman saha brahmana vipashtita. Okay. These four lines are, they are just wonderful lines for deep philosophical speculation. But for today's purpose, I'm just going to take the third line. Yo Veda Nihitam Guhayam Parame Vyoman. He who knows that the Supreme Being is in that cave. Okay? Guhayam. There is a cave, and in that cave there is a space, and in that space is the Supreme Person. He who knows that will attain liberation, is what this Upanishad is saying about Brahman. So now we also understand that the Supreme Being is also present in the heart. Okay. Now, if both these guys, the Jiva and the Supreme Being, are present in the heart, how are they present? How are they sitting next to each other, or one is inside the other? Katha Upanishad tells you that Anoraniyan Mahato Mahiyan Na Atma Asya Jantor Nihito Guhayam. Okay. Guha, cave, the space. So, Anoraniyan Mahato Mahiyan. So, this chap, the supreme fellow, is Anoraniyan. He is smaller than the smallest, and he is bigger than the biggest. So, Jivas are subatomic. So, he is inside the subatomic Jiva. That is Anoraniyan. Okay. So, now we understand that Jiva and Brahman are in the region of the heart, and that the Brahman is inside Jiva. Okay. Now, there is another Upanishad, Chandogya Upanishad, which is part of the Samaveda. Yeah? And it is also one of the big Upanishads. There is a chapter called Dahara Vidya. Dahara Vidya tells you clearly where exactly these guys are present. So it says, Ata, Yad, Idam, Asmin, Brahmapure, Daharam, Pundarikam. Okay. So Brahmapure, that's a beautiful word. Brahmapure means, Pura means the place. The place where Brahma is, Brahmapure, Daharam Pundarikam. So Pundarika means lotus. Okay. So the Chandogya Upanishad is telling us that there is a lotus in your heart, an inverted lotus in your heart. Dahare asmin antara akashaha tasmin anyad antastaha. Okay. So it says, in that inverted lotus, there is a space. And in that space is this Jivatma and Paramatma sitting. Okay. So now from this we have to infer that Jiva and Brahman are not in your right, left, or the right atrium, left atrium, or the right ventricle or the left ventricle. They are not in that. They are in an organ which is an inverted lotus bud, as described in the Vedas. And the Shastras clearly tell us that that is the thymus gland. That corresponds to the area where the thymus gland is, that there is a subtle space, and in that space, the Jivatman and the Paramatman are placed. Okay. Now, why is that? How can one be so sure of that? To explore that, one needs to go to the Mandukya Upanishad. I think a few weeks ago we discussed Mandukya Upanishad about the 3 states of consciousness of the Jivas, and how so the 3 states of consciousness of Jivas is wakeful state, the dream sleep, and the dreamless sleep. Yeah. So in the dreamless sleep, the Mandukya Upanishad states that the dreamless sleep, the Jiva and Brahman are in close, they are hugging each other. That is what it describes. And the Mandukya Upanishad also gives us an idea that state is in Anahata Chakra. Yeah. And that Anahata Chakra corresponds to the thymus gland. So that is also another evidence to say where the Jivatman and Paramatman are placed. Okay. So the summary of this is, if one message that you want to take from me from today's class is, where is Jivatman and where is Paramatman? They are both present in this inverted lotus bud, Hridaya Kamala. Okay? That is the thymus gland, where there is a space where the Jiva and the Paramatma is present. Now, I also looked at the Gita and see what is the Gita's view on where the Jiva is placed. So I did a search within the Bhagavad Gita and asked the question, Hridi. The word Hridi, where does it come in the Bhagavad Gita? So the word Hridi, which means the heart, comes in 3 places. There are only 3 verses. Krishna is talking about the place where the heart is, the Hridi. One is, I've just taken 2 here. One is chapter 13, verse 18. Jyotisham api tad jyotihi, okay, param uchyate jnanam nyeyam jnanagamyam hridi sarvasya vishtitam. So in all jivas, in all the hearts, I am placed. That's what Krishna is saying. Then there is also another verse, which is a very important verse, 15th chapter, 15th verse. Sarvasya cha aham hridi sannivishtaha. Okay, in all the jivas, I am in this hridi, in this heart. So now we can confirm, we have taken the Upanishads, we have taken the Gita to now confirm that this Jiva and Brahman are actually placed in the region of the heart, which is inverted lotus bud, which corresponds to the thymus. So yes, fine. So the Jiva is there and the Paramatma is there. The Paramatma has pervaded the Jivatma. So what is the big deal? What is our relation to the Supreme? This is the fundamental question. Now, that cave where the Jivatma and the Paramatma are sitting, Mundaka Upanishad actually takes this up and builds a whole philosophy around it. It goes like this, and many of you would be familiar with these mantras from Mundaka Upanishad. Dva Suparana Sayuja Sakaya Samana Vriksham Parishashvajate Tayor Anyaha Pippalam Swadvati Anashnan Anyaha Avichakashiti. That is a summary of how we are placed in this cave. So the Upanishad is saying, in this cave of the heart, there are 2 birds. So they are sitting in that bird. One bird is looking away from the other bird, and it is looking at this tree and it is eating all the fruits from this tree. Although the fruits are very bitter, it somehow thinks that these are the sweetest things that exist in the universe, and it is enjoying that fruit. Okay. Whereas the other bird, Anashnan Anyaha, Avichakashiti. Anashnan, Nashnan means eat, Anashnan means not eat. So the other guy is not eating everything, but he is full of happiness and bliss. His eyes are glowing, and he is just looking at the other guy and he's saying, what a waste of time. What is this guy doing here, eating that fruit? So this is captured in Mundaka Upanishad, which essentially means the Jivatman has looked away from the Paramatman, and it is focused on this tree, which is this body, and it is getting all the fruits from this samsara or the material world in which it is operating, and it is assuming that every fruit that I am getting is the sweetest fruit. But this eternal witness, who is the second bird, is just watching and documenting all this guy is doing. So this is the constitutional position of the Jivatman and Paramatman that we need to firm it up in our mind. The reason being, our relationship, that is the relationship between the Jiva and Paramatman, is something that is a topic for deep contemplation in the Vedic philosophy. Okay? What is the relationship between the Jivatman and the Paramatman? Okay? Now, I just want to take two verses here. One in Rig Veda, the other one is in Gita. The Rig Veda says, Rupam Rupam Pratirupo Babhuvaha Tadasya Rupam Pratichakshanaya Indro Mayabhihi Purarupa Iyate Yuktahi Yasya Harayaha Shatadasha. So what it says is, this Rig Veda mantra basically is talking about Indra. There is not your Indra, the Indra's demigod. Indra there is the supreme Indra. Yeah. So that is the supreme being. That is the super soul is the Indra there. So this is saying that for every jiva, there is a form of the Lord that controls that jiva. So rupam prati rupo babhuvaha. So that form of the Lord is called the bimba rupa. He is the object, and the form of the jiva is taken as to be a pratibimba or a reflection. In this example, the mirror is the upadhi or the reflecting medium. Okay, so that is the metaphorical way in which you can understand what is the relationship between jiva and Paramatma is. So in this example, the object is there. If I am tying the tie, the image is also tying the tie. So the image is entirely dependent on the object. If the object combs the hair, then the image will also appear as it's combing the hair. Yeah. So that dependence, the concept of dependence, is highlighted in this verse using this analogy of whatever the object does, then the image also does that. Now, which brings about this concept of dependence. So the jiva's dependence on Brahman for all its activities, for all its affairs in life. Yeah. So that is the meaning there, not to be taken literally, but to be taken metaphorically. Now, this same concept is taken up in chapter 2 of Gita, 18th verse. Antavanta ime dehaha nityasya yukta sharirinaha anashino apremeyasya tasmad yuddhasva bharata. Note, I've underlined anashinaha and aprameyasya. Why have I underlined that? Let's go to the first line. Antavanta ime dehaha. Deha means this body. And Krishna is saying, Antavanta ime dehaha. These bodies are perishable. Okay. But he says, Nityasya yuktaha sharirinaha. Okay. Nityasya yuktaha means, Nitya means deathless. Okay. Who? Sharirinaha. Who is a sharirinaha? Sharira is the body. Sharirinaha is the one who is inside this body. Who is inside this body? The jiva who is inside the body. So that picks up a key philosophical question is, why are jivas eternal? Why are jivas deathless? Why do they not have an origin? Krishna answers this in the second verse. He uses a word called anashinaha and aprameyasya. If you think about that a bit more, if you go back to this figure, I told you about the pratibimba or the reflection, and I told about the bimba, and I told about the reflection. Now, I also told you that the reflection is equivalent to a jiva. So in this example, what are the situations where the reflections may not be seen? The reflection may not be seen if the mirror is broken and the mirror does not exist, or if the object moves away from the mirror, the reflection cannot be seen. So those are the two conditions. But in this relationship between Jiva and Brahman, the contact between the object and the mirror can never not be there, because God is all pervasive. He is everywhere. So that is the meaning of the word aprameyasya. He is everywhere. So if he is everywhere, there will never be a point where the God's reflection cannot be on this mirror. So that is not possible. And the second one is the mirror itself. Can the mirror itself break down? No, because the philosophy there is the Jiva himself is the reflection. So the Jiva, who is eternal, is himself the reflection. God is everywhere. So the controlling power of God on Jiva is always there forever. So, and that is the reason why Jivas are also considered as eternal in Vedic philosophy, because they're eternally dependent on the eternal supreme. Okay, and so that gives you an idea of our fundamental constitutional position is we are completely dependent on the supreme. Okay, for every action that we make.
HinduKnowledgeAcademy.com will celebrate Vedic culture and present its philosophies to the modern Hindu in an accessible format. Our ancient heritage is our greatest strength. Through preservation and dissemination, together let us spread positivity in the world. Thank you for listening and welcome to Hindu Knowledge Academy.